What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to talk about the Season of the Seraph finale event, which is coming up very soon in Destiny 2, and so in this one we'll touch on what we know about the new quest and activity coming to the game, as well as some important things to note about accessing the new content when it's available, some of the possible rewards, including an exotic, and on top of that we'll cover what this finale may look like when it drops. And so, as always guys, I hope you enjoy the heads up about the end of Season 19. It certainly has the potential to be a juicy one, seeing as we're heading into Lightfall, but I guess we'll find out. And for now, if you enjoy the video, a rating down below would be super appreciated, but otherwise, let's get into it. And so starting out, we should say Bungie have only really spoken about this event in a couple of different ways. They haven't officially revealed a lot of information about it, but they have said that during the final 2 weeks of Season of the Seraph, a special finale quest and activity will be available for all players. Season Pass owners who have completed the More Than a Weapon quest will start the finale quest automatically upon login. And so firstly, with the event being active for the last 2 weeks of the season, we should be looking at a launch date of February 14th alongside the weekly reset. Be sure to keep that in mind. And from Bungie's wording right here, the final phase will have both a quest and an activity associated with it, and we have seen this before, including for the Elixir Quarter event in Season of Plunder. Other shouts for this event though include that the Season 19 finale will require the Season Pass, that makes sense. And on top of that, their wording makes it sound like we need to complete the Season 19 main quest thread, which is called More Than a Weapon, before we'll get access to the new quest, so keep that in mind, and there is still a bit of time to catch up before the finale if you don't want to be potentially locked out of completing it when it initially launches. Another heads up which Bungie have provided about the finale content, which should mention right here, is that they said the redacted quest cannot be picked up if a player's bounty inventory is full, and players will need to make room in their inventory to pick up the quest step. And so no doubt when this goes live, there'll be a few players who've been hoarding bounties and will possibly not be able to grab the quest. If you do happen to have bounties stashed up though, by the sounds of it, as long as there is at least one slot available, we will be able to acquire the quest steps. Next though, let's speak a little bit about rewards for the event. We will talk about the quest and activity itself in a moment, but in terms of what we might be able to obtain from the quest, the only specific item I know about is the exotic ship Spirit of the Warmind. This seems very likely to be linked to the season finale as the item still hasn't been obtained in the season, and of course with this being the only remaining new content for Seraph that we know of, it will probably drop when we complete that finale. We have also seen that in previous seasons this year, so give us your thoughts on the exotic ship right there, whether you're excited to pick it up. On top of that though, of course it is possible that extra drops of season weapons or things like that could be added as bonuses for the activity content. So we'll see what we get on that front. But in terms of what this event could potentially be like, we'll get into a little bit of spoiler-free speculation. Looking at previous season finale events, we've had things like the event where Rasputin fired on the Almighty, and he absolutely KO'd it. We were able to watch it in real time in the tower. And I'd say this is one of the coolest visual things that Bungie have done. And it would definitely be awesome to get a taste of something this exciting in the finale for Season 19, although Bungie have said they are kind of shying away from limited time events where players can miss the action, so it isn't very likely to be something that if you're not there, you'll absolutely miss it, with the exception of that 2-week period of course. But it will probably be more story contained or witnessed within the quest or activity itself. And then we have had the more kind of activity-focused finales before, and the one for Season 19 is probably more likely to be similar to things like the final mission for Season of the Lost, for example. And that was the Exorcism quest, where we tried to contain Savathun, and that was a final run through the astral alignment with a different ending, so gameplay-wise, it was probably less exciting than the story it was actually telling, right? As that did lead into the Witch Queen expansion in a major way, kind of handing over that story. But other similar things, including one this year, was the Season of the Haunted finale mission, which was a pretty fun one-off experience and probably more interesting gameplay-wise than something like the Exorcism mission, if you guys remember it. I do think though that given the possible story implications of the end of Season 19, leading into Lightfall, and with a major character Rasputin in the forefront, this could totally be a massive story beat, and if Bungie could combine some of the spectacle of something like the Almighty event with slightly more interesting gameplay, then it could be pretty epic, but that is pure speculation and we'll simply have to wait and see what it's like. However, give us your thoughts, speculation, or what you'd love to see for the finale quest and activity down below. The very final part of this video, I guess, has a kind of medium-sized spoiler, especially for lore-savvy players. And so a brief spoiler alert is necessary here if you don't want to know more. We'll call it the end of the video, but it's simply the name of the quest, which Bungie did reveal in an earlier TWAB, possibly by accident. And they were talking about the quest not being able to be picked up if you had a full bounty inventory, where they referred to it as the Abhorrent Imperative quest. And of course, having given us the name for the quest right there, on top of speculation about what that could mean for the story right now, it also means that players are able to look at some of the quest threads and things like that in the database. The only one I'm going to look at right here is a description for the activity, and after an assault on the Seraph station, Rasputin is connected to the Warsat network and ready to execute his plan. So as expected, Rasputin is going to be front and center in this finale event. We won't talk anymore about potentially what's going to happen, as I think it's better to just simply see that in the game. However, there is another activity description, and so given that this is a 2-week event, it's possible that there could actually be more than one phase to the finale, a sort of opening phase with an initial run of the activity in the first week, and then a possible second phase, which is available in the very final week of the season. That isn't confirmed, but there's definitely a possibility that there could be 2 different parts dropping on 2 different resets, and that is based on some of the stuff that's in the database, so something else to think about, but definitely it's going to be an interesting end to the season, and with us only being a few weeks out from Lightfall, story stuff coming up could be pretty huge. The final thing we should mention related to the end of the season, I suppose, but Bungie have made it possible to focus deep sight weapons on a daily basis for the remaining weeks of this season, so a separate gameplay note, I suppose, but if you want to pick up any of the weapons, or any specific crafting progress for Season 19 or the other seasons from Year 5. That functionality is now available at the relevant vendors for the rest of the season, so keep that in mind as well. But the only other relevant mention is that Destiny 2 Season of the Seraph will close on February 27th, 2023. And so obviously we have that 2-week finale period, but just bear in mind on the day that Lightfall actually releases, there will be a 24-hour period of downtime immediately before the launch. So for a chunk of Monday and the Tuesday of that week before the expansion drops, it's worth remembering that we won't be able to sign in and play. And so it was worth mentioning that, but for today, guys, that is what we have to speak about regarding the end of Season 19. Just wanted to give some of those heads up and shout outs about the event for any folks who missed them, as well as discuss potentially what we might see and get thoughts from you guys. So I hope you have enjoyed the video today, and if you have, a rating down below really helps us out, but definitely be sure as well to get subscribed to the channel. No doubt there'll be a lot of content rolling out that you won't want to miss when Lightfall drops in a few weeks' time, so feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get notifications on all the new content. Otherwise though, for today, as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will catch you all very soon.
And I propose we aim not for total victory, but a stalemate. Allow Rasputin to prevent Xivu Wrath from claiming her prize, and refrain from using it himself.
It's settled then. We hold the line.